All right, so we're back in the second part. I have to be honest with you, I actually have the material to make this other video. I was actually editing, but I've seen it was so much talking, so much rubbish, and it's like I talk too much and it's boring, and it's like just show us something. So I've decided to do it again and just shows you at this point where we are, what I had to do, and blah blah blah. So engine is in. Let me show you as much as I can. This is it. It sits in place. It's got everything in. Well, everything. Let me start from the beginning. Engine mounts, because this is the reason why I choose this engine, right? Because I had the engine mounts ready to drop this engine in the chassis without any modifications. So this is the gearbox side mount, and it fits on the chassis perfectly. It fits on the gearbox almost perfectly. All I had to do is to, let me just check if the camera focuses. Couple of washers here, because the surface on the gearbox on this side is not completely flat. So there was one washer on this side and a couple of washers here. And yes, I didn't have the shorter bolt, so I used a dodgy spacer like a nut to put this one on because I was in a rush. I just wanted it in, and then obviously do it later, which with me, you know how this stuff works. Or my stuff, later means years later, or actually never do it. If it works, it works. If it's ugly, I don't care, because this is my car. Okay, so let's go to the gear, to the engine mount. And the engine mount I had to swap, because this is K24, not K20. Let me just put the light here so you can see something somehow. There you go, maybe. So this being K24, it needs a different engine mount bracket. This one here, okay? This is from the CR-V Honda, and you have to use this one with these innovative engine mounts. Now the engine mount on this side, it fits on the chassis absolutely perfectly, 100% happy about it. This side of the engine mount fits on this bracket absolutely perfectly, again happy with this. They seem strong enough, I'm okay with this. However, when we fitted this engine in, it was massively on a piece. So this side of the engine was much lower than this side. It was tilting down quite a lot. That's why you can see this. Let me see if you can spot it. You see these two big washers, these two additional washers, this one and this one, yeah, they additional. I put them on. This is like about 10 mil. I had to raise this side of the engine about 10 mil, and now we are about nearly straight. I think there's about half a degree difference between the chassis and the engine straight, which I'm not 100% happy yet, but I can accept it because, you know, we at the end of the thread of here, and so we have to change the bolt, and to be honest, for half a degree I can live with that, no problems. Now when I do engine mounts, that will not be acceptable, especially because these engine mounts, they were not cheap at all. So you're expecting from a company like this, quite expensive engine mounts, to be everything spot on. Now I do engine swaps, I could do it on my own, no problems, but again, I had no time for this. I went this engine because someone offered the engine mounts inside. When you're buying the engine mounts, you're not only buying the fabrication someone put into it, you're buying someone's development. They fitted the engine in the chassis, they found the position, the ideal position for this engine in the chassis, so you can work around it. Everything else around fits, the plenum fits, the alternator fits, the gearbox is in the right positions, the drive shafts are on the right position, not on a silly angle, everything is nice and straight, nice and square, and then they make the engine mounts and put it in production. This is what you're paying for, not just the physical engine mounts, the development as well. And this is where the time comes, because fabrications, to be honest, for me, it's not really a big deal. This is what I do. But that time of development, I didn't have it, so it's like I opted to buy that for someone, pay for it, and put it in. And I was happy with it until I find out these engine mounts actually don't keep the engine straight. So for me, that is a big, you know, disappointment for a big company. But again, it was easy to correct. Now, this is the gearbox mount and the engine mount. Let's go to the third gearbox mount, because these engines, they fitted transversely inside the chassis, and they have to, obviously they do this torque where they twist this way when you accelerate and brake. So let me show you the third one, which is this one here. Fabrication wise is quite good. I would like to, let me just make sure the camera, you see? No, you don't see it. There is another hole over there on the gearbox, and they only use one of them, on the bottom or on the top. I guess this is enough, but I would really like to grab that second one as well, just to make everything extra strong. Maybe you don't need it, I don't know. You know, hope you don't, but I would prefer, if I was doing that, I would use both of those mounting points. But again, not a big deal. However, what I don't like on this side, let me just put the light here. You see this mount here? Let's put the light on the camera. There you go, that's much better. Much space here. I actually had to put the washer in because this bracket is actually too wide for this mount. So you had to put the washer only one side, because all this engine mount is on one side here. And there's no adjustment, there's no way you can put the engine in the wrong position. There's no adjustment on this side, so the engine position is actually dictated by this engine mount. That one has some slack on it, so you can move it, but you can only adjust it to fit this. So there's no way you can fit this differently, or it is your fault. And on this side, you see, you can see inside that the bush is actually hiding inside, and the bush on this one is actually being pushing out, and this is actually touching on the bracket, so it is a contact, metal to metal. This is how much intention this gearbox mount is, and that simply is not. So you have to turn this light off because it's gonna be too much. That is not acceptable. I will not leave this in. I will have to remove this bracket from the subframe and re-drill the holes probably, or do something about it and move it in the right position, so there's no tension, there's no mechanical stress first of all, and there's no metal to metal contact. Any metal to metal contact on engine mounts is not good. First of all, because it will transmit all the vibrations to the chassis and essentially to your seat and to your ass. You don't want that. That's why you have the rubber bushes, you know, to make everything to work and all the stuff. Second thing, metal to metal contact is not good because the chassis and everything, although it seems solid because it's metal, but everything works, everything twists, so you don't want that. In this case, it will not produce anything bad about mechanical stress, because you still have movement, there's still bush inside, but again, it's metal to metal contact. That's not good, that's not acceptable, so this one has to be corrected. Another thing, and very important, and this is something I don't understand, you have another engine mount. You can probably see it. Let me just check on the camera, sorry, let me just stop it so I can see what you see. You see that engine mount over there, that bush over there? Yeah, that is actually a very important engine mount, because I heard stories that this one with the engine torque actually bends the subframe, so you have to add the additional engine mount. But that is actually not additional one, because on this engine Honda uses that side of the engine mount, and this chassis with the original engine uses that engine mount as well, so you should include that in the kit. And what they say, you can have that one, it's additional, you buy it separately. Why? You have to have it. So if I'm buying a kit to fit this engine and you give me the engine mounts, give me them all. It's like if the engine mount has, if you have 2 engine mounts and the kit is, oh, there's your engine mount, and what about the other one? Oh no, that one you have to buy it separately. What do you mean? Can I mount it with 1 engine mount? No. In this case, can you mount it with 3 engine mounts, 3 of the 4? Yes, you can. Would there be any problems? Well, yes, because you're missing 1 engine mount. But just give it to me. Oh, yeah, okay, but you have to pay extra. It doesn't make any sense. What? Okay, enough with my rant. In overall, I'm happy. There are some corrections to do. I have to fabricate that engine mount. That's like 130 quid, I think, or something like this. Ridiculous. It's like no chance. That's simple bracket. The engine mount is already there. I'm just gonna fabricate that one on my own. It's gonna take me at least top, and now maybe an hour and a half top if you want to make it beautiful. So fuck it, I'm not buying that, because just principle. No, they were expensive already. However, apart of that, I'm happy with the engine being in position, so I don't have to do that development side of the that side of the development. So it saves me a lot of time anyway. In overall, I am happy with the quality of the stuff. I'm not with missing the fourth important engine mount. I'm not happy that you have to pay the extra for it, because it should be including the kit. So that being said, everything else is going very down the hill, very smoothly, very easily. Let me show you cooling system. The cooling system, you have one pipe coming from the K24 from the thermostat, you can see there, and this one there is the original one. So basically what you have to do is this very ugly but like a S-shaped rubber pipe, and this one is actually the original one from the 1cc engine that was fitted here. Okay, this is actually in a similar position that K24 engine. So you take that one original, cut it in half, make it slightly shorter, and it fits the way you've seen it fits. I'll show you again. There you go. Now this pipe here, I can't fit my fingers there. This pipe here, this is the fuel line, and I'm pretty sure you can work something out and connect it to the original fuel line. And I'm not sure yet, I haven't looked because I had no time, but I believe the K24 and K20 engines, they have no return line from the fuel rail, and if that's the case, I think this chassis has the same system, so it should be very easy, very simple to do it. I have to check on the fuel pressure regulators, what pressures they run, and match everything if you stay in NA. If you're doing turbo, then it's a different setup, because obviously you need a swirl pod, you need the whole new fuel system, which much bigger capacity of pressure and flow and everything. So everything will have to be rebuilt. It doesn't matter what the pipe is, because you have to do it again from scratch, so it doesn't matter. But if it's NA, it looks very, very simple to connect, so that is very, very down the hill, let's say this way. So it's again one thing that is very simple to swap for these engines. Now the second water pipe is this one here, and this actually is the original one. I haven't modified anything. All I've done is I removed a part of this pipe about that long roughly, and I put a joiner here. Obviously you have to put the Jubilee clips, and it fits exactly on the K24 engine, like the right angle and everything, so I'm extremely happy. This pipe here goes to the expansion tank, which is here, which is fine. Everything connects. Now this pipe, this is the original from the engine. Look, obviously I got the turbo here, so it doesn't fit now perfectly, but this actually fits exactly to that pipe, and this pipe goes to your matrix heater, and you connect it over there. Now this pipe here, you don't use it, you can actually remove it, and this one here, because we have no plenum, I can show you where it goes to the thermostat housing. Now this one here, you can block it, you can chop it, you can remove it, you can do whatever you want with this. In my case, I actually bought a different thermostat housing that is bolted instead of let me just grab something to show you, because it's tight with my hands, I can't get it, maybe with a screwdriver. So you see that thermostat housing there, right? This one here, when you buy a different one, it doesn't bolt over here, but actually eliminates all this housing, and the new one bolts straight to this plate, to the water pump, to the aluminium pump. This is plastic, so you remove all of this, and the new one is going to bolt from here, and the pipe that's going to go out, it will be from here. It will give you more space to put one of these pipes, okay? And also you will have an option to run this pipe or blanket off, which will be easier. Now either of the options works great. You can use the standard one and connect it like I did, or you can buy one, which I did also, and use that one. I think it's going to be slightly easier, because the rubber pipe is going to be slightly longer. Do you need a slightly longer? No, you don't. You need a slightly longer only if you use the original engine mounts, so the engine twists much more than in this case, because I choose the street race and race poly bushings. They're very hard, so the engine will have very minimal movement. So there's no movement, there's no need of a long rubber pipe to allow for that movement. So either way, it is good. I ordered that thermostat housing because it's very cheap. It was like £22 delivery or something like this, and it already has the option to remove that pipe from the top, this one here, to don't have it. So I will just not have this pipe. I don't have to block it, I don't have to chop it, it will just be not existing one. Now these pipes that they go to the standard throttle body and all the stuff, you should work that out probably between this one and this one. However, I'm not gonna run it anyway because I'm running different intake. I'm gonna modify it anyway. The throttle body is gonna be different, so that's my kind of fabrication because I'm modifying this stuff. If you use standard stuff, again, from the thermostat housing, you have different outlets for the pipes, for the water pipes, and I'm pretty sure you can work it out, no problems whatsoever, and it's not difficult, it's very straightforward. So I'm liking this. So all the water system, all the cooling system, including the metrics, is very simple. Beauty of this car, they only use this one, because the other one, I think it comes from the front, from the radiator or one of the hoses, one of the pipes, so it's very easy. So that's it so far. Everything was, apart obviously engine mounts being in the wrong position, I had to correct them and build another one. Everything else was really down the hill. Now the gearbox cables, these are my cables, the original ones from my original gearbox. This is EP3 box. And again, if you're using K24 engine, you cannot use K24 Honda Accord gearbox. They're different, and this engine mount, this gearbox mount won't fit. This is the information I had to find out on my own. I did not read the instructions. I just sent them email twice to the company that make these engine mounts and to the company that sold me these engine mounts, which it was their dealers. And they cleverly avoided to answer my questions, taking the conversation in a different direction. So I bought them anyway, and when I pointed the problem out, they say, well, we never actually confirmed they fit. All right, let's not go into that because yeah, it wasn't very nice from them. However, so you can go straight to the diffuser, and it's very simple. If you want to go for the silencer, you can go all around this way, 185 degree, which is, yes, is a restrictor, but again, it makes your noise slightly less. You got a space for the big silencer and a tie pipe over here, so no problems whatsoever. So that's great. And also this is the last bit, which is great that Steve is here. I need to borrow your intercooler again.
Yeah, crack on, mate.
Actually, you have a look on that as well. So explaining how good this turbo position is. This is a 3-inch core intercooler, which is like 300 by 600, is it? Like
one?
Yeah.
It's a tiny bit less. I think it's 600 by like 290 or something.
Even if 300 is space for this.
It made over 600 yes. On an RX-7 on the dyno, so... Yeah.
I'm not gonna show any video now because there's no point, but I already had my bumper on. I've put the bumper on, which clamps on this, on the top of this bar, and it actually fits correctly. You don't have to cut anything, everything, just beautiful. Brilliant. Absolutely beautiful. Making mounts for this, I mean, you can work it out yourself, is extremely easy. And you have this pipe. It doesn't have to be this one, it could be on the bottom there, but it matches the compressor outlet. So it's very short way, great. The only thing you have to work out is the outlet from the intercooler to go into the plenum over there. But again, very simple and very easy. I was trying to explain how small this engine bay is, but how beautiful the layout is for everything. I mean, exhaust manifold, look at how straight it is. I was probably on a video for half an hour how beautiful this shit is. It is like you couldn't ask for the better turbo position. Weight distribution on that is perfect. Yeah. Exhaust, plenty of space, and it's like no restrictions. Intercooler, exactly the same. Everything is just working out beautifully.
That's the thing, it's that easy that you can have like You can have a quiet exhaust and a noisy exhaust if you want.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can have literally one exhaust that just goes
straight down to the diffuser.
Yeah.
If you don't use a diffuser, it doesn't matter. Or big
And
silencer.
Yeah, and one with plenty of room
Yes.
for a silencer.
Of course, we'll have to make kind of like a firewall to separate the hot side from the, obviously on the turbo, because that's glowing red, that's very hot, from the intercooler. But again,
But
that's not a problem. You already have the big vents over here. You can improve something, you can build something. Again, this is not even downside. Bit of work, but in overall, this is way simpler than, for example, building E36 or is it free turbo system or much bigger cars with apparently bigger engine base. This is a tiny car and there's a space for absolutely everything, and great layout, good efficiency.
perfect.
I'm getting excited now. I'm actually making this video, I'm getting excited myself.
Well, that's what you want. That's the key to making cars, I think.
Yes.
If you don't like, if you're not all excited yourself, there's no point. But yeah, this is literally made for it.
I think we've done a good decision to go for this engine.
Yeah.
Well, because obviously it's simple, fast, and gives you tons of possibilities.
Yeah.
That being said, even one of those.
Anything would be awesome.
Exactly.
But
There wasn't a right choice, was it?
Huh?
It was just, there was no right.
there was no
choice.
wrong choice really.
No,
Like everything
it was just
good. All different for different reasons, but there's no getting around the fact that K24 and a proper 200 brake standard K24,
Even now.
A2 or whatever it's called, is an amazing choice for this and the best engine.
But even you've seen that how easy it was. The clutch line is
Yeah.
already connected, it's like in a standard place, standard line.
The coolant lines is what got me. It was just like
Coolant line is like,
Yeah.
5 minutes, plug it in. Same with the metrics, everything is just there. You know?
ideal.
The engine loom length, apparently, I have to try it, I have to do it tomorrow. Apparently it's the right length to go through the bucket and go where the standard ECU is.
Really?
So your K20 ECU is in the standard position and the length of the wires is
Yeah.
actually the same.
Perfect.
So you can't ask for anything more simple than this.
That's what you want.
Big time saving. And the time you save on obviously fitting the engine, all the standard bits, you spend on building turbo system.
Yeah. That's the thing. Not only is it something is exciting and fun and you like it, it's easy. Having both of those things in one car is not very common, is it?
No.
Usually the exciting things are really difficult. But no, this is well, it's a bit like this, isn't it? Where it's surprisingly easy and
Easy and
like
simple,
perfectly
yeah.
suited.
Well, yours is even easier. That's
yeah.
how easy that is. But this one, honestly, is like, I just realized that I'm getting so excited making this video, explaining this stuff. It's like going through all this stuff again. I don't want to do the van today. I want to, I want to do long. I want to fire up.
Yeah, no.
But I have to be
Yeah, I was
reasonable.
going to say, you want to get that.
Yeah, I want to
really
get out because
before,
obviously it's taking the whole, half the workshop space is big. So, plus it's kind of snowing these days. So